sitting, breathing, surviving. And without thinking, he placed a second chair next to him. Just in case. Years passed. The city changed. New buildings rose. Old stores shut down. Thomas stayed the same. A retired school janitor. Quiet. Kind. Invisible. Kids used to wave at him when he worked the halls. Teachers thanked him for staying late. Now, no one knew his name. Every evening, he carried the chair from his apartment 3 blocks away. The metal legs scraped the sidewalk, leaving a sound that matched his bones. He'd sit. He'd wait. Sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours. No one ever sat down. People avoided eye contact. Teenagers laughed quietly as they passed. A woman once whispered, "That's depressing," to her friend. Thomas heard her, he always had, but he never moved the chair. One night, the rain came without warning. Cold, heavy, unforgiving. Thomas stayed. Brought water soaked through his jacket. His hands shook not just from the cold. He looked at the empty chair and smiled faintly. She hated the rain, he whispered. A car splashed through a puddle nearby. Laughter echoed from a restaurant across the street. The world kept going, too, and for the first time in years, Thomas wondered if maybe it was time to stop bringing the chair. That's when he heard a voice. "Mind if I sit?" He froze. Slowly, he turned. A woman stood there, mid-30s, tired eyes, holding a paper bag of takeout like it was the last thing keeping her together. I don't want to intrude," she said quickly. There aren't many benches left, and... Stone. Thomas stared at her like she'd just spoken a foreign language. The chair! Someone was asking about the chair. "Yes," he said, voice cracking. "Please." She sat down carefully, as if afraid the moment might break. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Rain drummed softly around them. Then she sighed. "Deep. Heavy. Long day," Thomas asked. She laughed, but it came out broken. "Long life lately." He nodded. "Those can be the hardest." Something about that made her eyes well up. She wiped them quickly, embarrassed. "Sorry, I'm Claire Thomas." They shook hands. Warm, real, human. Claire had lost her husband 2 years earlier. Car accident. One phone call that split her life in half. She worked double shifts now. Ate alone most nights. Talked to no one unless she had to. "Oh, Pa, I come here because it's quiet," she said. "And because no one expects anything from me." Thomas looked at the chair. "That's why I bring it." She glanced at him. "Why do you?" She hesitated. Then he told her. About Emily. About the bench. About the years of silence. Claire didn't interrupt. Didn't pity him. She just listened. Too. When he finished, she placed her hand on the cold metal chair. "Schley. Thank you," she said softly, "for not giving up on it." They sat together until the rain stopped. The next night, Claire came back. Then the next. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. But the chair was no longer empty. Weeks passed. Other people started noticing. A jogger slowed down one evening. A young couple smiled as they walked by. The bench felt warmer. Then one night, Claire didn't show up. Thomas waited. 6:12 became 6:45. 7:30. The chair sat empty again. That old ache returned, sharper than ever. Maybe it was foolish to hope. Maybe this was always how it ended. The next evening, Thomas almost didn't go. But he did, and there she was. standing, nervous, holding something behind her back. "I'm sorry I missed yesterday," she said. "Work ran late." "Too," he nodded, hiding the relief flooding his chest. "Too." Then she handed him a small, folded note. "I wanted you to have this." Inside was a photo. Thomas and Emily. On this bench. He stared, stunned. "How did you?" "I found an old post online," Claire said. Someone had shared a photo years ago. I recognized the bench. Tears blurred his vision. I thought maybe it was time this bench remembered Joy too. That night, Thomas brought 2 chairs, not because he was waiting anymore, but because he wasn't alone. Months later, the bench became known. People sat there, talked there, cried there. A small sign appeared one morning. "If you're lonely, sit down. Someone will listen." Thomas smiled when he saw it. Claire squeezed his hand. The chair had done its job. Not because someone finally sat in it, but because it reminded the world that hope doesn't disappear. It waits quietly, right beside you.